YouTube, my name is Paul. Hope you're keeping well. Welcome back to a pickup video. So nothing quite as extravagant, bloody hell, extravagant, that's what I'm trying to say, as last month. So yeah, I've kind of kept it to the bare minimum really. There's probably one game in here that's pricey, which was not an intended purchase. I just did it because good old impulsive me wanted it, because I'd never seen it before. There's games for the Spectrum, the Atari 2600, Commodore 64, Amstrad, Atari ST, Amiga. I think that's your lot. A couple of games here I've been after for absolutely years, but yeah, as I'm kind of dwindling down to kind of where I want to be in terms of my pickups, as my list is getting smaller and smaller, it's getting more and more difficult to find the games I want, which is a good thing for my bank balance. The first game I got is a Commodore 64 game, a game released, well, it wasn't released by Ocean. Ocean were going to release Airwolf. Elite Systems then got the license for Airwolf, so Ocean didn't release it. But this game looks like the remnants of Airwolf, but it was released in Germany under the Quellasoft label. But when you load the game up, it's got an Ocean loading screen. The helicopter looks like Airwolf. It's got some fantastic music in it, but unfortunately it's not the Airwolf theme, it's just a really good tune. Martin Galway, I think, might be wrong. The game is Helicopter Jagd by Quellasoft. Now I think there's about 4 games released for the Commodore 64 under this label. I wouldn't mind all of them, to be honest, because at least one more is an Ocean game, or a game Ocean rejected back in the mid-80s. So I'd like to get hold of that. It's supposed to, well, in the UK it was called, not Crystal Castles, Castle Capers, but it was released in the UK as something else, but it's released in Germany also as a different name altogether. So yeah, I'd like to get a hold of that one. But yeah, that's not a bad game. That one set me back about 10 quid, which I was quite surprised, but I think the bulk of the cost of that come from the post. Now, this is probably the first Atari game I've picked up in many years, and a neighbour of mine had this. The problem with this game though, it's got a really steep difficulty curve. You literally play it for about a minute, it goes from quite easy to fucking impossible. And that's Stampede. You literally, like, it starts off so gentle, and that's on the very first setting. And within about a minute, it just goes bananas. Yeah, this game only cost me about 5 quid. And I'm after about 20 Atari games that I used to have, or friends used to have. So it's not much I'm after, but it's very difficult finding anything for the Atari now in decent condition, especially as a standalone game. Plenty of cartridges out there, which may be the way I have to go, which I don't want to. But yeah, next time I'm at a trade fair or something, I'll have a good look and see if there's any boxed, complete Atari games. Because eBay's not really a great source for them at the moment, unless you go to the United States. Right, next up is the Sinclair Spectrum. 2 Imagine titles, which completes my Imagine set. One of them I've had for quite some time, and the other one I got literally in the last week or two. First up is Mikey. This game eluded me for quite some time because I underestimated its value. Arcade screenshots at the back there, which was pretty usual back in the day. So if you didn't read a magazine review, you had no idea what this flipping game was like. But this one set me back 20 quid. Now I've since seen it sell for less, but for quite some time I didn't see it come up. I've seen this about half a dozen times over the last 6 months, so I'm really pleased to have that. It's very rare Ocean Imagine games were released in clamshells on the Spectrum. That seems to be a lot more common for the Commodore 64. And then the last Imagine title I got, which I always thought I had it, to be honest, and that's Arkanoid, Revenge of Doe. I think I got it on bloody every system now. Now this one was part of a bundle, so it didn't set me back anything really. I must have paid only about £1 for it, to be honest. Never liked these bat and ball games. But yeah, I'm really pleased to have it now, so I can finally get round, hopefully, to doing a full Imagine games video for the Sinclair Spectrum. So we'll get round to that at some point. That comes after my Psygnosis video. Now the final game to show you on the Spectrum, even though I've probably still got about 40 left to show you, is a game that was converted from an ST game, believe it or not. The first Bitmap Brothers game I ever played, even though it may not have been programmed by the Bitmap Brothers. And that was Xenon. A really decent shooter on the Spectrum, fantastic music, great graphics. Bit strange with the old game mechanics because you either played as like a land-based vehicle or a ship. But I loved it, I thought it was really good. Really well presented. I remember going to get this in up the West End, again in 1989. But yeah, wonderful. I got this not long before I actually got an ST. But a really good, faithful conversion actually from a 16-bit machine. That's the Spectrum games. Ah, I lie. There's one more Spectrum game. Now this game I had on a, must have been a Sinclair user cover tape. And I've been looking for it for ages. But I didn't realise it was a budget release in the first place. I always assumed it was a full price release. And that game is called Deviants. A really good game. Again, another difficult game. You run out of ammo really quickly. That's because I keep my finger on the bloody button all the time. But you've got to, like, I don't know if you defuse bombs, but you've got to kind of work out a little puzzly bit in the game, which is really hard, and that's what put me off it, to be honest. The run and gun bit was great, but that puzzly bit, maybe if I read the instruction it might help, but yeah, that was quite cheap. Part of the same bundle, I think that was only a £1 as well, if that. So really pleased to have Deviants. Right. What's next? Spectrum game that come today, which is just an upgrade to one I've already got. That's Head Over Heels. So I finally got one with the instructions. So I did think about getting the Commodore 64 version and just taking the instruction manuals, but for some bloody reason it's a Spectrum specific manual. So this one set me back £24, believe it or not. But I've seen this game go recently as well for about 40 odd quid. So yeah, a bit hit and miss Head Over Heels. A bit similar to Mikey really. Doesn't come up very often, but when it does, it usually comes up sort of 3 or 4 times. But a desirable game nonetheless. I'm pleased to finally have that one. Right. So yeah, over the last few weeks and months, I've managed to almost double my PlayStation collection as well, by buying quite a few games back that I used to have years ago. So I'm going to show you 4, I think, this time. 4 classics. Well, classics for me, because I had the machine from launch up until about 97, so most of my memories really are based around that time. The first one I'm going to show you is Alien Trilogy. I've been after this game for bloody ages. I've got it on the Sega Saturn. This is the machine I had it on. Now, I remember the presentation being fantastic, the music, the atmosphere was brilliant as well. I could only get off the first level though. I think I got to the outside bit and found it ridiculously hard. That's quite interesting internally though. I don't remember shooting anything and smashing windows before playing this game. Strange what you remember about games really, but this is a fantastic game for a bit and then got bloody hard and it put me off. But yeah, glad to have it in the collection again. Probably only about 2 or 3 quid. Next up is Tomb Raider. A game you should definitely have on a PlayStation. Again, this was only about 5 quid for the original sort of double spine, whatever you want to call that, double case, I don't know. But it hasn't got all the awards down the front as well. So when this game originally came out, it didn't have all the awards dotted down the side of it. I was really pleased to get an original release of it. Again, a game I never completed. I played it for quite a bit. I was always impressed by that T-Rex stage, because that thing scared the crap out of me when it started charging towards me. It looks ludicrous now when you look at it, because it's really blocky, but at the time it was amazing. Very, very well presented game. And the pinnacle of core design's programming prowess. Right, what else have I got? Another game I got. So I got 3 games when I first got my PlayStation. I got Wipeout, Ridge Racer, and this, Battle Arena Toshinden. Now when I played this game, I'd never played anything like this before. Even though it was nowhere near as good as Tekken, this to me was absolutely fantastic. I actually completed this game, so I thought it was really easy, to be honest. But I've not played it for over 20 years. They all come complete, and I usually tend to look at the manual. If the manual's condition is generally good, or very good, the chances are the disc will be the same. And that kind of philosophy works a lot of the time for me. As soon as a manual looks like a pile of crap, I don't bother. But yeah, that's something I look at every time I buy a PlayStation game, and sort of 7 out of 10 times it's pretty accurate. The last PlayStation game I've got to show you is probably the last FIFA game, or FIFA related title I ever really enjoyed playing. It's World Cup 98, which for me was my favourite game of this sort of genre ever. I bought FIFA 2000 a little while later and I didn't like it, and from that point I never bought a FIFA game again. But I had this on the PC originally, and I love the presentation with this game as well, with all the sort of national anthems and all the stadiums. It was really well, everything was really well replicated. And I thoroughly enjoyed this game, even though it's only a couple of quid now. I'd certainly highly recommend it. I've not played it obviously since about 98, 99, 98 or 99, so I would like to get in to that game and give it a go again. Right, next up, some Amiga pickups. Now, there's not many here. I've not been buying much in the way of Amiga. So I've pretty much got most of what I want. There are probably about 15 or 20 Amiga titles I'd love to have, but they're not cheap and they don't come up very often. So yeah, first up is a game I've been after for absolutely ages. I had it on the ST, I've got it on the ST again now. And that game is called Rock and Roll. Now this came up as part of a bundle for about 15 quid. So I offered the guy, well I think it came up for 20, I offered him 15 and he accepted. But finding this game as a standalone is really difficult. It's certainly worth the money I paid for it. I've seen this go for about 30 quid before. So really chuffed with it. So it's kind of a weird puzzly game. You've got to sort of guide your ball around a massive maze really, unlocking doors and picking up bonuses like parachutes. I used to play this game a hell of a lot on my ST. Completed manual discs. I'm really pleased to have it. I'm pretty sure the music is done by Chris Hulsbeck. So yeah, got a fantastic soundtrack. Graphics are alright from what you can see there. But it's one of those games that I was quite surprised when I played it, how good it was. And I'm pretty sure it's the first game I ever played that had a band playing the music. Which sort of caught on a little bit afterwards. I'm pretty sure Chuck Rock's got a band, and I'm sure there's about 3 or 4 others that kind of copied that. So I was well chuffed with that, because I've been after that for years. Now the next one, funny enough really, I just watched Cinny Steve's pickup video, and he's been talking about these. That's the sort of thing I've been collecting for quite some years now, and I finally got the last one of these that I needed. These dreadful plastic cases. But I mean, the first game I ever played or ever bought like this was APB back on the ST in 1989, but I finally got them all. Finally. So yeah, pleased to have that. That was dirt cheap actually. And the reason it's dirt cheap, it's got no frigging discs. This costs 5 quid. This game can quite easily go for 40 to 50 pounds. So if anybody knows of any spare discs, please let me know. So technically I haven't finished it, but yeah, cool. That was, let's just say £5. That was a bargain. Right, next up, Atari ST. There's quite a few Atari ST games here. All nostalgic, all games I used to have back in the day, and all games I've played quite a bit. First one being Super Hang-On. So I'm pretty sure I had this just on a standalone disc, which I think came free with the Atari ST. It comes complete, it's in nice condition. Again, probably only cost me about £5, because most ST games are cheap in comparison to the Amiga. Here comes a little poster, instructions, discs. Always remember this one as well, because it's got the arcade, got sampled arcade music at the beginning, which is quite an unusual thing to listen to. Yeah, cracking, brilliant game, really good game, Super Hang-On. Next up is another arcade conversion I thoroughly enjoyed back in the day, and that's Crackdown. Been after this for the ST for ages, because that's the system I had it on. Again, probably didn't cost me any more than 5 quid. It's in lovely condition, really good conversion actually. I played the Amiga version, which is identical, just got better music. And I played it on the Mega Drive. I could get quite far in it. I'm sure I've beaten it before with a cheat. I could probably get to about level 4, level 5 off my own Steam. But yeah, definitely recommend that game. I really enjoyed that. Very iconic. Next up, I picked this one up as a buy it now. Ultima 4, one of the more difficult Ultima games to pick up. Never played any of this series before. So I've got Ultima 4 on the ST, Ultima 3 on the Amiga. You generally come with a cloth map. I think it's missing some kind of charm. There's definitely something missing from this, from the pack. Apart from that, it's complete. I think it was up for like £30 buy it now. I offered the guy 20 and he accepted it. But yeah, I must play it. I know, I'm not sure if Ultima 2 made it onto the ST. It certainly didn't on the Amiga, but Ultima 2 may have made it on the ST. If not, it would have been a Commodore 64 game. Yeah. So yeah, I haven't played that before, but it's in lovely condition. I'm really pleased to have it. I don't want to squash the Atari box. Right, next up. Now this game, me and my friends sat and listened to the sample music on it for ages. But I've never played the game. I only remember it for that sample music. And it's a game called Sapiens. It's a French game. This was part of a bundle I picked up ages ago. I think I sold the rest on, including games like IK Plus that came with this bundle. So this probably cost me nothing. But yeah, I'm not sure what the game's even about. I'll be completely honest with you. But the music is what I remember it for. It had a really long soundtrack, probably lasted 10 minutes. And when you're used to playing like a Spectrum and that with its AY chip, when you hear something like that, it's pretty amazing. So yeah, that's that one. Next up. Now, I don't know about you, but I remember seeing a film called Emmanuel when I was like about 10 years old. I don't remember it that well, to be honest. I just know it's a bit of a, I don't know, a bit of an erotica film. Is it erotic? Yeah, erotic film. Now the game I've been after for ages. This is the Atari ST version by Tomahawk. I remember seeing this in Ace magazine. Always fancied getting it. Got no idea why. Yeah, never got hold of it. Now it's very hard to find it. I think it came out on Amiga, PC and ST. I got it from France. Now even if in its tatty condition, and believe me, it's not great. Been through the wars. Got a bit of water damage to it. I've had to sellotape the actual box to try and keep the integrity of the box in shape. But even that cost me 70 quid. But there is an Amiga version, I think, or an ST version that's in lovely condition, but it's like 400 quid. So I think I'll hold on to this one until I can find a better condition version of it, which, bearing in mind how hard this game is to find, I'd be lucky to find a nice condition one. I haven't tried it though. My ST doesn't work anymore. It's died, so I need to get that repaired. I know David Birdsall's recommended for me to send it to Caterpillar Games, so I probably will be doing that as soon as I get the chance. But yeah, Emmanuel, yeah, brilliant. But yeah, not sure. I think it's a point and click adventure. But like I said, I've never played it. I would like to give it a go. Two more left to show you, both Amstrad games. One of them is Street Fighter on floppy disk. I recently saw this sell on a Spectrum for about £200, which is bloody crazy really. This one set me back 50. That's a buy it now. Pretty much a Spectrum conversion for what I've seen of it, just with a bit of colour in it. The Spectrum version was okay, just had no atmosphere. You can see the Spectrum version there with the white and blue. SD version I've got. Oh, the Amstrad version is underneath, so maybe it is slightly better. That's the Amstrad version there. I noticed as well, Cine Steve picked up the Amiga version for this, which I nearly picked up myself. And he's asking about a box. There's no big box version for the Amiga, it's just that small dual case. It did come out in big box though for the Atari ST. But yeah, I was amazed to see it sell on the bloody Spectrum for 200 quid on plus free disc. Crazy money. Now speaking of crazy, this is one of my impulse buys, one of the games that was not on my list to buy. But when I saw it, I was like, what the hell's that doing on an Amstrad? In fact, I didn't realise this game got an 8-bit release whatsoever. So I picked up Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. This one is the action game. I was absolutely amazed to see it. And this wasn't cheap. This was just a shade over £200. Well, just after I bought that, I literally went into the sold items for the Spectrum, and in it was a box of games, like loads of games for 25-30 quid. And on top of that box was that for the Spectrum. So someone got a bargain anyway. But yeah, this game apparently was only released in France, but this is a UK release. It has UK instructions in it as well, so it's a very, very difficult game to get by all accounts. It's probably one of my most difficult to get Amstrad games in my collection now, so really chuffed to have it, even though the game looks really bad. But yeah, I do like picking this sort of stuff up for the collection. I do like to get these obscure items, because not many other people have it. I think that's what draws me to it, to be honest. So yeah, there are other games. I'm going to show you two more actually, while I'm in the mood. Two CD32 games. Now it's very rare now I pick up CD32 games. There's only a couple left I'm looking for, and they're like, well, I've only ever seen them once, ever. So one game I picked up was a variant, or is a variant, of one I've already got. This was sealed, and it came up for a buy it now for 40 quid. I couldn't refuse. That's Legends. So I was going to get this one, and maybe get rid of the other one, because the one I got has got other games in it as well. So it's almost like a compilation. So it's exactly the same as that, with a sticker saying, with a list of 3 other games on it. And I think there's 2 variants like that, and the original release of it. A little bit of damage at the back there, with the old shrink wraps coming off. But I thought, why not for £40? I mean, the game itself can probably go for double that without it being sealed. But yeah, chuffed to bits to get that. I think I picked a couple of games up from that gentleman. I think I sold one on, but I kept that one for the collection. Now the next one is very difficult to get in its big box form. It's quite common on the CD32, but that is Super Skid Marks. I think this was about £25. It might be £30, I can't remember. Which I thought was a bargain for one of the more rarer big box titles. But yeah, I've already got it on the jewel case, which I've had for years. To find it in a big box was quite a nice surprise. There's quite a few other big box games I don't have, like for example Legacy of Sorasil or Hero Quest 2. That came out in a big box, which I had never seen before. I can't remember what it's called now. It's one with a plane. Jet Strike? Jet Strike? That came out in a big box as well. It's about 3 or 4 big box variants I've never seen. But if you go into Hall of Light and have a look at their cover scans, they've got cover scans of big boxes for games that I didn't realise had a big box. So yeah, 2 more CD32 editions, which is brilliant. So I don't really buy much in the way of CD32 now. Well, I'm not going to show anything else. There's some more games I have got. Got more ST, more Amstrad, and mostly Spectrum, to be honest. And a couple of PS3 collector's editions that I've swapped out. But if I buy anything at the moment, it tends to be games that I'm swapping out. But that's it, really. So I hope you enjoyed that bit of variety there. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing, and I'll see you guys again real soon. So take care, and bye for now.